Hey guys, welcome to Ask Sierra. Today we are making a 3-layer banana pudding cake. Um, Very excited about this. My brother-in-law requested this after he saw something on I think it was TikTok, Instagram, one of those things. Sent me the video and I said, okay, I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna put my own little twist on it. So here are some of the ingredients. I did not make it from scratch, but it tastes like it was from scratch. You got your Cool Whip, a vanilla cake from Betty Crocker, some banana cream pudding mix, vanilla wafers, powdered sugar, of course. We got vegetable oil back there, a banana, several sticks of butter. Let's make sure we get that room temperature. Got some all-purpose flour, and of course we had some condensed milk back there in a mixer. Okay, eggs, some measuring cups and stuff, just cuz. So let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna go ahead and open up this box of this vanilla cake mix, and again, it doesn't matter the brand. I like Betty Crocker. You could have got Duncan Hines, but they're all pretty much the same in my opinion. So you're just gonna put all of that in there with your mixer. And then one thing that's important, whether you're making a box cake or you're making a cake from scratch, you typically want to mix all your dry ingredients first. So with that being said, we'll start with all our dry. So now we're putting in our banana pudding mix. As you can see, make sure you get all your product out. And if you didn't know, adding pudding mix to any box cake definitely makes it more moist. Definitely. Flavorful too, it adds the flavor. Here we're going to be adding a 1/4 cup of flour to it. Gonna wrap that up, put that up, and then of course we're gonna go in and just mix this up very well. And just make sure when you're mixing it, I don't know why I got the whisk, but you can use a spoon, it's not that big of a thing, but you do want to give it a good mix and combine all three of those elements to make sure that it's even. We want this to be even. All right. Okay, so next, we're gonna be pureeing the banana. I don't have any fancy equipment or anything, so if you're a beginner baker like me, or you don't have this extra equipment, you can do this with a whisk, or you can do it with a fork. I already had the whisk out. So that's why I use the whisk, but it can be a little bit easier with a fork, just pressing it and mashing it out until it gets to kind of like this wet, even, soupy looking kind of mixture. And you can just take your time with this if you want. I don't know how much time you have, but again, if you use a fork, it is a bit faster. But you're just going to take your time, mash this down. You don't really want to have a lot of lumps in it. So you want to kind of make sure you kind of put in some effort to get this as even in texture as you can. So as you kind of work it down, this is kind of what it'll start looking like. Something of this kind of texture. Again, if you want to beat it down some more, you can. I'm gonna move on to the next thing, and I'm gonna start by adding my eggs. We want to make sure that we are paying attention during this process. If you're not a good egg cracker, you want to really pay attention to this. So I added 4 eggs. Now I'm gonna go in and add in my vegetable oil. Again, you don't have to get a name brand for your oil. I know some people are really brand heavy on stuff, but Publix brand has always worked for me, or whatever brand that is on sale. So we're gonna add our oil to it, and next we're gonna go in and add some water. I'm okay with tap water out the sink. I don't know if you have a filter on yours or not, but if you're not comfortable using your sink water, feel free to use bottled water or some purified water, whatever your preference is. And now we're gonna go ahead and add in like the banana puree to our mixture. Make sure we get all of that out. If you want, you can add in an additional banana. I always feel like one banana is enough, but I know of some people that like to add in two. Um, and it's all good. It's all good. Your preference. This is your cake. Do it to the best of your ability. Okay, go ahead and get your mixer ready. I have a mixer, a Sunbeam mixer. It does just as good as the KitchenAid. Well, it doesn't do all the things that the KitchenAid does, but for what we're doing today, this works. This works. It doesn't have a automatic thing on there, so it naturally by itself. It's like a turntable underneath. So when you turn it on, it'll turn itself. And then if you need to throw in anything additional, but you want to make sure you don't just put this on and walk away. You want to go in and start trying to kind of rake those sides down so you can get an even mixture. And as you can see, it doesn't get everything at all. So definitely go in, scrape your sides, lift up underneath so you can get a really, really even mixture with this. And it's going to smell amazing. It's gonna, by the time you add in that banana pudding along with that fresh banana smell, it absolutely smells amazing. After this, definitely take your time with this portion, because again, you want to make sure everything is mixed up really good. Scrape your sides, scrape underneath. Just go in, and then we're gonna come back and mix it some more. Okay, so now we're at a point, I feel like we're done mixing, and we need to go ahead and get our pans ready. I always do this at the end, guys, because I feel like I don't want to leave no mix on my mixing handles. Here, I'm going ahead and getting a paper towel to dry off the insides of my pans. Like they were like freshly washed. And then I'm going to get some Pam, and I'm going to spray these down really good. You can feel free to use any like baker spray. I didn't have one of those official baker spray, but I did have some Pam. And I didn't feel like getting any butter and, putting the flour in there and all that good stuff. So I was like, I'm going to just grease these suckers down with some Pam, and we'll be good. I ain't got no complaints. No complaints here. And what we want to do, what's important, or, we want to make sure that we are putting even parts into each one. I know for some people that's hard. It's a little bit hard for me sometimes, but what I try to do is like use a measuring cup and put equal amounts starting off in each pan, and then at the end adding whatever at the end. That's the easiest thing for me anyway. That's the easiest thing for me, but you just use a mixing cup instead of trying to pour it and try to guesstimate, and then at the end you know, your layers are looking crazy because you thought you could eyeball it and you really couldn't. Um, so again, it's just a little hack, a little tip, nothing major. Again, it probably won't ever be perfect, you know, unless you're measuring out or weighing out each one. But using a cup definitely helps you to have even layers. Okay, so now we have our even layers, and what you want to do is just go in, shake your pan, try to get all those kind of like air bubbles out. Make sure they're kind of laying evenly in your pan. And if you want to, you can go in and kind of wipe out the insides of your pans, the sides of your pans too, if you're making a mess like me. It just gets a little messy, but it's all good. Take your time, because that stuff would definitely bake on and be burnt to the pan. You gotta do all that scrubbing and scraping. You definitely want to do that. So, um, if you can, if you have the patience, go in and do that. All right, you should have had your oven preheated for 325. You're gonna go ahead and go in. Okay, so while that is baking in the oven, um, we're gonna go ahead and make our banana pudding that is going inside the cake in between the layers. I have a whole nother video on this. Smoke's famous I can't think, banana pudding recipe. I'll put the link in the description. Um, but you know, you can do however you want to do your banana pudding. I'm just doing the way that me and my family like to eat it. And so what you're gonna do, you're gonna get some condensed milk. And then you're gonna use that same can, put some water in there, and then we are going to stir this up really good so it can be an even fluid. And again, you don't have to do it my way. If you feel like this is too sweet for you and yours, you can always do it a different way and use I know some people use cold milk, and they use heavy cream to make their whipped cream from scratch and all that good stuff. I'm not knocking it. This is just not the way I make it. So either way you want to do it, make the banana pudding the way you want to make it. But I always get so many comments about me and my family, we don't make our banana pudding this way. And I get it. Make it your way. You don't have to do it my way. Definitely make it the way that you and your family like it. I can say that the way I make it is a little bit more fluffy. It's not really puddingy. It's a more of a fluff to it, because I do use about 8 ounces of Cool Whip in this recipe. And here I'm just adding in the banana pudding mix. And I do recommend using a name brand for this. There are a few things that I am a little bit hesitant about buying off brand, and it does taste different. I use the Jello brand for my pudding mix, and I always get the banana cream flavor. I know some people use vanilla. Again, any kind of way you want to make your stuff, you can. But what you're going to do, you're going to take your whisk and you're going to just mix this all together until you do not hear that crunchiness at the bottom of the mix. So you want to make sure this is even. And as you can see, it starts to kind of turn into a pudding as you're mixing it. It starts to kind of get a little thicker, so on and so forth. So when you finish mixing all of this up, you're going to go in and you are going to add your Cool Whip. I only use one entire tub of Cool Whip. You can definitely use less if you want a banana pudding that is not as fluffy, and you want it to be more of a traditional, I guess you could say, pudding kind of texture to it. But I do use the entire container of the Cool Whip when I do this. So once you add the entire container in. Again, you're going to go in and you're going to whisk this all together until it's even. You want to make sure you are going underneath to make sure you don't have any pudding sitting underneath, and that everything is evenly mixed with the Cool Whip. And to be honest, guys, this is it for my just banana pudding. This is it. I don't do anything else. There's no vanilla being added. There's no banana extract being added, which I feel like is unnecessary anyway, because of the flavoring of the pudding. But this is it. This is the whole thing, banana pudding. So once you finish mixing this up, you're going to set this aside. I always cover it and put it in my refrigerator. And then I'll get back into going into the next steps. Okay, so we're going to go in. Y'all disregard the bottom of the oven because that came from a baked sweet potato, but let's disregard it. You're going to go in and you're going to check your cakes. And of course, you know, you need to do your toothpick test to make sure your centers are cooked well. Okay? Do your test. All right. I felt like they wasn't done how I wanted to be done, so I put them back in. All right, so we're going to move on to what are we doing now? Oh, making our icing. Our buttercream, just traditional buttercream icing. You can use unsalted butter or you can use salted. I used what I had, which was salted butter. But please feel free to use unsalted, and then typically people go on the back end and add their salt, but I'm using what I had. You want to make sure these are room temperature. Definitely. You want to make sure these are room temperature. Set them out at least an hour before you're ready to use your buttercream. It is going to really, really, really help you. Okay, now I can't figure out why can't I get this thing to, there you go. Alright, so here we go, guys. You want to turn your mixer on. This is be a good time now for why you should have a stand for your mixer. Okay, I don't know what was going on with that, but we getting to it. I had to fix it. But this takes a little bit of time to make buttercream. Takes a little bit of time. As you can see, I don't know what is going on with my, I'ma just have to hand mix it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. But here, you're going to just take your time and you're going to whip your butter until it gets fluffy. And again, if you try to do this with cold butter, it is not going to break down like this. It's going to be a bunch of chunks. It's going to be looking crazy. It'll make your bowl jump everywhere. Like it's gonna take a longer time. So using room temperature buttercream is a must. So you're just gonna go around until this gets good and fluffy. Okay, so your buttercream should look something like this when you're done. Nice and light and fluffy. It should be like a lighter color. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna go ahead and add in like your first cup of powdered sugar. And then you're gonna mix. And typically what I do is I add in 1 cup at a time. During during this process. That keeps it from going everywhere, all over everything. A little bit still gonna get out, but this definitely helps keeping it from jumping out of the bowl and jumping on everything. So you're gonna kind of break this down, work on this, and then probably right about now you're gonna try to go ahead and put in your next cup of sugar. And again, I know my portions might not be exact, but if I went a little bit over, a little bit under, it's all good. It works out in the end. All right, so we're gonna go back in, and now we're gonna mix in this second cup of powdered sugar. Again, just remember, do not try to put all of the cups of sugar in it at the same time, because it is gonna be an absolute mess. Okay, so now we had whipped in another cup of powdered sugar in the sped up clip, and now we are adding in our vanilla, because your buttercream needs some type of flavor. Okay, and you know what, you actually could instead of doing vanilla extract, you could do a banana extract. I've never done it before in a whipped cream, but I imagine that wouldn't be bad for a banana pudding cake. If you know, like a nice light banana flavored buttercream, I don't think that would be bad, actually. You know, somebody try that out. Let me know how that turns out. But for today, we are going to mix in some vanilla, and we're going to just continue on this process to making this real fluffy buttercream. And also, if you feel like your buttercream is kind of thick, I do add in like 2 to 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. I think I lost that clip. Please forgive me. But I typically add it in, I think at the end, because I don't want, just to determine how thick or thin I want my buttercream to be. But the next couple of seconds, you kind of see me go through the last couple of steps of adding in more powdered sugar and all that good stuff. But definitely towards this end part is where I typically would add in the couple tablespoons of heavy cream. Now, you want to get some of that buttercream, and you want to add it to whatever your cake plate, wherever you're gonna put it. You maybe got some kind of special dish you use. You want to take your pieces of cake. Okay, you want to stick down your first one, and that icing, just make sure it stays in place on whatever cake plate that you use. And we're gonna get a really sharp knife. I don't have one of those fancy cake cutters, so I just got a sharp knife and cut the top off. And then I just kind of put that to the side, because I will eat that later for sure. We'll eat it later for sure. And that's also really, really good, guys, with some coffee in the morning. But I'm gonna get my buttercream, and I'm gonna go around the edge of my first layer, and I'm probably gonna do 2, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the banana pudding in the center part, and this is gonna help keep the banana pudding in the inside, because I'm telling you, if you do one, you're really gonna be risking the banana pudding coming out when you put on that next layer, and then the top layer as well, with the weight, so on and so forth. But here's that banana pudding that I made earlier, and all I'm gonna do is get some and dollop it in the middle, and pretty much, kind of even it out, put it in there, even it out. Kind of staying within my little ring of buttercream icing that I put down. And it doesn't have to be perfect or anything, because nobody's going to see this part at all. And then after that, I'm going to take another banana and I'm going to add in a couple of slices of fresh banana. And while we're talking about this is not a cake you can let sit out all day. What is it? Banana pudding is perishable. I didn't think I needed to say it, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I wouldn't let this cake sit out no more than maybe an hour at most, but this is something that you would need to keep cool, keep refrigerated. And what you can do, you can keep this cake in the refrigerator maybe 15 to 20 minutes before you want to serve it. You want to take it out just to let that buttercream, because the buttercream is going to get a little bit stiff. It's not going to be soft and fluffy if you put it in the refrigerator. So if you take it out maybe 15 to 20 minutes before you're going to serve, it's going to allow that buttercream to thaw out. And it's going to keep you from making people sick, from allowing that banana pudding to sit out. So just keep that in mind. This is not the type of cake you can just let sit out outside or inside all day and let people cut on it until whatever, because it is perishable. So we're going to take this next top off and put this next layer on, and we're just going to continue to do the same thing. I didn't put any steaks down or any skewer sticks or anything with this cake, because I just figured it'll be able to stand by itself. And these are this is a 6-inch cake, so I felt like it'll be okay. But if you feel like you're gonna be traveling with it, and if you got a neighborhood like I have and it has a lot of speed bumps, you might want to put some skewers down in this just to keep it, straight. As I see, mine is kind of crooked. I guess I can't tell at the moment, but it is a little bit crooked. I can't even lie. But I'll probably fix that more towards the end. But here we are, adding more of the filling to the center. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to just, put in enough so that when people slice it, they feel like they got a good helping of banana pudding in their cake. And then again, we're going to go in and we're going to put a couple of slices of fresh banana in here. And I don't put a lot, and I also make it really thin as well. If you're a person that is concerned about the banana turning brown, what you can do is you can slice your pieces of banana and you can kind of soak them in some lemon juice to keep them from turning brown. I'm not big on that. I've never been big on that, but I know people do. Especially if they're putting, making a banana pudding or something in one of those kind of glass containers. But I feel like I always taste the lemon. Some people say they don't taste. I feel like I taste it. I don't know what it is, but if you were concerned about your bananas turning brown, maybe you were making this the day before or 2 days before or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you want to dip those in some lemon juice before you add them to your layers. And now we're going to put on our third layer. And again, we're going to cut off that top and place that on. And shout out to Patrice. She only did my nails a couple of days before this. And it's really, really giving me some kind of glitter iridescent something. Okay, so the last piece I put on, I always flip it upside down so that I know I have a completely straight top. And now we're going to go on, and as you can see, I did fix it so it's standing up straight. Now we're going to go on and we're going to put our crumb coat. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am not a cake decorator at all. I'm a good Southern girl. It's going to taste good. It might not look as pretty as your local bakery or anything like that, but it's definitely going to taste good. I'm not really good with the piping and all that kind of stuff, but I do my best. I get better with time. But here we're just gonna be putting on some that additional buttercream we got. And as you can see, I'm just trying to pipe it on here to start the process of doing this crumb cake. And also, if you have a turntable, this will be a good opportunity to use this, because to do this crumb coat and to put on that layer of icing, however you want to do it, having a turntable is beneficial. I don't have a turntable, so my hand will be turning. So, but yeah, you can just do this and kind of work your way around just to get some of that icing stuck on before you try to go in and do that crumb coat. And basically, you do your crumb coat to make sure that any of the little crumbs from the cake does not get on your last layer of icing. So, you know, your cake doesn't look all crummy, you know, or have a bunch of crumbs throughout the icing. Again, the way I do it is it's not perfect. I'm not classically trained in cake decorating, but I try. I try a little bit. I'm getting better though. Trying a little bit. So you're gonna continue, just, you know, put as much buttercream on there, work your way around, and then you're gonna smooth it all over as best as you can. Okay, so I went ahead and sped it up, y'all, because y'all ain't got all day to watch me do this. This can be a little bit time consuming, especially if you're a perfectionist. I am not, but as you can see, this took me. I had to really speed this up because it took me a while to do this crumb coat on here. But as you see, you know, I'm working it out. Lord knows I'm trying to work it out, working it out, working it out, working it out, smoothing it out. If you don't have like these little scraper spatula things, you can use a paper plate, y'all. I've seen it done before. It works too, but I have this. This came with a little kit of mine. So here is our crumb coat. As you can see, you can kind of see the crumbs in there, so on and so forth. And this is gonna be our top layer, or our pretty layer of icing that we're gonna be putting on the cake. And again, this takes a little time, so I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up for you guys. Okay, so this particular little scraper that I have kind of gives you those like kind of rustic looking lines. You ever seen that? I decided to try something new. I didn't want it to be all smooth and stuff. So this is my try at doing that. And I think it came out all right. We're going to work on it. It's going to take me some time. I'm going to show y'all. But I'm going to speed that up too. But a lot of times those little spatulas, I don't know what, the scrapers, they have all kind of little different patterns on them, so that when you smooth the cake over, you can kind of leave those types of lines, those kind of ridges and things on your cake as part of your decoration. Be careful with doing this part, because it definitely, if you go in too deep, you can start ripping or scraping off your actual cake, which is what I was doing because it's my first time trying to use this. But You'll just work with it, play with it, add buttercream as needed in different places until you kind of get it to what you want it to look like. All right, so this gonna beat me down to the ground, but I think I got it as good as I'm gonna get it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a little piping tip, and I'm gonna try to beautify this up. Put a little edge at the bottom, because child, I could not get that bottom together to save my life. It's gonna taste good though. I'm trying. It's gonna taste good though, but I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of this buttercream trim here on the bottom, and just kind of work my way around until it connects. Again, if you got a turntable, please use it. It'll make it much easier, much easier if you have a turntable. I don't have one, but you can still get the job done. All right, now I'm gonna try to fix them edges up at the top. I'm trying to do the same thing, child. I'm gonna go on around, okay, using that buttercream, and try to fix it up to make it look cute as I can. And again, the biggest thing about using the piping bags, even though I don't have a lot of experience, is your pressure. If you can get your pressure and your hand movements to be perfect each time, your waves or your ruffles, how it comes out, it will look perfect. It's some section on here I'm looking like, I'm a perfect kind of, I don't know, I guess a Costco baker, a Walmart baker, a Publix baker. I'm looking like I do this for a living in small sections, but that's only when I'm really concentrating or being mindful of my pressure, my hand movements, so on and so forth. So, okay, she not the prettiest at the moment, but we gonna jazz her up for sure. And again, she still tastes good, so that's all that really matters. We're gonna start adding some of our vanilla wafers on top to style her. And I'm so sorry that the screen is cut off. I did not notice that the camera wasn't in the best position, but you get what I'm doing. You get it. And then after I add a few of the vanilla wafers to the top, I'm gonna go around on the sides, and I'm gonna stick on some these vanilla wafer cookies on the side as well. Just to kind of cover up some of the imperfections and all that good stuff. And what you want to do, you want to try to get the ones that don't look all broke up in the box, which I know sometimes with vanilla wafers it is hard to do. Because I've gotten boxes that were perfect. I've gotten boxes where half the cookies were broken. I've gotten boxes where they were extremely light. I've gotten boxes where the cookies were extremely dark from the norm. So try to go in, see if you can pick out the best looking cookies out your box to use as your decoration. And that's pretty much it. There's no rhyme or reason to how I'm putting the cookies on. But yeah, again, I'm not a cake decorator, but I can bake a little bit. Just a little bit, and I can make it taste homemade. If we're in a rush, if we're trying out something new. So here we go. Here we go. It's coming together. Looks much better. Can't really be mad at it. If you saw this at your auntie house, you're going to get a piece. For sure. You're going to get a piece for sure. But this is pretty much it. This is our 3-layer banana pudding cake. And at the end, I'm definitely going to add a photo that shows what the cake looks like when you kind of pull the camera back. Okay, I'm adjusting. Maybe because I was moving all of this around. I don't know. This is how we got out of the angles wrong or whatever. But hey. So here is... Alright, so here's our picture. I think it came out really good from my first try, to be real. But anywho, thank you for watching. Definitely come back to Ask Sierra. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, x.sierra. We see you next time.